I'll request Mr. Venkat Garimella, Vice President Sustainability Schneider Electric India, to come on stage and give his presentation on how Schneider is helping governments in terms of effective water management technology innovation. Over to you, Venkat.
Thank you, Shovik, for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. Respected Chief Guest, Mr. Mishra, Chief Secretary, Government of Uttar Pradesh, Mr. Ashok Kumar, Director General, Clean Ganga Ministry of Jal Shakti, National Mission for Clean Ganga, Ministry of Jal Shakti. It was very inspiring to see how technology is going to be a key enabler for addressing the water issues. I'm not a water expert. I'm not coming from a water background. I'm coming from an energy background. But if you look at it, there is a very, very close nexus between energy and water. They are perhaps two sides of the same coin. So maybe if I give some insights the way we at Schneider look at the energy landscape and hence the other associated infrastructure development requirements, maybe it will be interesting to have these discussions in those lines. If you see in the current situation, India is already the large economy, the fastest growing large economies in the world, and soon we're going to be a 5 trillion economy. And what essentially this will happen is the urban sprawls is going to be becoming bigger and bigger. Today we have about 34-35% of population in the urban areas. We're going to be seeing close to about 40% of our population in the urban areas. We're going to be adding, as per report, we're going to be adding about, let's say, 700 to 900 square meters of residential and commercial space, which is like adding a city of Chicago every year for next 10, 12 years to this country. This is all coming in our way. And we know the challenges of all the urban areas. I come from Bangalore, sir, and I know in Bangalore, the distances are no more measured in kilometers, but in terms of time that we take. 7-8 kilometers, easily 45-50 minutes. And many of you would know about, especially in the northern part of this country, the air quality index essentially is always very, very high. So here comes a huge amount of growth, development, urbanization in 10-15 years in this country. And then there are so many other constraints of resources also to be managed. We are also trying to be energy independent country by, let's say, 2047 as we celebrate our 100 years of independence. And this is very, very crucial for us to be energy independent, because good amount of oil and gas is what we import, and perhaps we want to be Atmanirbhar and energy independent in our oil, in our energy requirements. Now, what this essentially means is that the energy consumption, especially the electricity consumption, is going to increase by 6 to 8 times by 2047. This is huge. We are already the third largest power consumer, power generating capacity in country, and it is going to further increase by such a big multiplier. Now, so urban development, energy growth, and then we have the agenda of meeting our climate goals in midterm, reducing the emission intensity of our GDP by 45%, 2030. This is what our Honorable Prime Minister made the announcement in COP at Glasgow. And the second climate goal is net zero 2070, which is a little far. So the way I see is we have to perhaps manage both the growth, development, inclusive growth, development, and ambition of this country, and at the same time, maximizing the available resources. By the way, the resources are a little bit constrained already in this country, right? 18% of world's population living on only, let's say, 2.4% of the world's available land, and has access to only 4% of drinking water. So this is where we are, right? On one side, inclusive growth, ambitious growth agenda. On the other side, we have resource constraints, and then both have to reconcile to see that we manage our climate goals in a very sustainable way. So this is the story for India. And why I'm saying this is I was very impressed by what Mr. Ashok Kumar said as to how technology can really bridge this whole gap of resources and fueling the growth ambition. And this is where a company like Schneider comes in. We at Schneider believe that sustainability and development can both exist, can both coexist. They need not be mutually exclusive. You don't have to sacrifice one for the other. Both can coexist, and that is the technology layer or the technology story that we are talking about. We have partnered with various government infrastructure development activities, whether it is transport infrastructure, airport infrastructure, water infrastructure. We have been participating exactly with the same philosophy of how do we make the growth, the development in a more sustainable way. 3 steps, I'll make it very short. The way we look at is, first is to make a sustainable growth model. The first equation, the first part of the equation, what we suggest is how do we optimize and save, whether it is water or for that matter, whether it is for energy, right? And the best way of saving, optimizing is by infusing digital technologies. Today we have a lot of digital technologies, right from the sensors all the way to making a digital twin and infusing AI and ML. Some of the demonstrations that we have on the other room are precisely talking about that. So whether it is energy, water, or any other important resources required for national development, how do we conserve, how do we very be mindful of what we are using and have the digital architecture to manage that. The second part of our technology approach, architecture approach, is especially in terms of electricity. How do we electrify more and more, right? Electricity is the only vector of energy which can be decarbonized on the demand side by optimizing, infusing digital technology, and also on the supply side by having more and more renewable. So electrification is a second big vector for us to have a sustainable development, more so in a country like India. And we are already seeing in our lifetime the transport sector moving on to the electrification, right? So these are 2 important enablers of saving and electrifying. And the third enabler and the last one is how do we replace our energy sources with non-fossil fuel with renewables. So this is the kind of approach that Schneider always has in making your industries, data centers, building, offices, infrastructure. This is the architecture that we propose, which will deliver extreme high level of efficiency and sustainability. So I rest my case. I'm very pleased and honored to be with you, sir. Looking forward for your guidance. I know there are important dignitaries in the audience also. Looking forward to meet you. And again, on behalf of Schneider Electric, I thank everyone for all the support. And we are all here committed to bring best of the technology to this country and perhaps put the country on the roadmap of sustainable development. And I think, sir, India's growth model will be the real example of the global south to see how we manage sustainability and growth, which is what our global north perhaps couldn't do that well. So with that hope, I really thank all of you to be here and looking forward to interact more. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Venkat from Schneider Electric, who is the sustainability head, vice president from Schneider Electric. As he has rightly pointed out, a very important aspect. We're all talking about growth, mitigating risk of climate change, but also ensuring the sustainable development, how we bridge those 2 things. And again, technology can be enabler in this. G. Ashok sir also spoke about that.